Today, we begin with a story that sounds like a plot of a Hollywood heist movie. But there are no bank vaults. There are no diamonds. There are no gold bars. Instead, the target is something much sweeter, but evidently just as lucrative for organized crime. That is chocolate. Hello and welcome. You're watching Infofeed. A massive shipment of chocolate has vanished in Europe. And we are not talking about a few boxes missing from a local supermarket. We are talking about industrial scale theft. On the 26th of March 2026, a truck carrying over 12 tons of KitKat chocolate bars disappeared without a trace. It was traveling from Italy to Poland. The cargo, over 400,000 individual chocolate bars. And the parent company, Nestlé, has confirmed the theft. The local authorities are baffled. The truck, the driver, and the chocolate are gone. Let's start with the timeline and the sheer scale of what has been stolen. On Thursday, March 26, a heavy goods vehicle departed from Nestlé production facility in central Italy. Its final destination was Poland. The route is a standard European logistics corridor, a journey spanning anywhere from 1,200 to 1,350 kilometers, depending on the exact routes taken. It involves crossing international borders, most likely through Austria or Switzerland and the Czech Republic before entering Poland. Inside the trailer was a very specific and highly anticipated cargo. This was not your standard inventory. The truck was loaded with exactly 413,793 units of KitKat's brand new Formula 1 chocolate range. Last year, KitKat became the official chocolate partner for Formula 1. To celebrate, they manufactured a special edition line where the chocolate bars were molded into the shapes of race cars, while still featuring the brand's iconic chocolate-covered wafers. These bars were highly valuable. They were bound for distribution centers that would supply countries across Europe, perfectly timed for the massive surge in consumer demand ahead of the Easter holiday. But the shipment never arrived. Somewhere along the transit route, the truck was intercepted. According to a spokesman for Nestlé, who spoke to multiple media outlets over the weekend, no one was hurt during the heist, but the vehicle and the 12 tons of chocolate are entirely unaccounted for. Now you might be wondering, how did the company react? Nestlé, a Swiss multinational food giant, is no stranger to corporate crisis management, and initially, their response carried a hint of dark humor. In a statement released to the press, the company referenced their own world-famous slogan. They said, and I quote, "We've always encouraged people to have a break with KitKat. But it seems the thieves have taken the message too literally and made a break with more than 12 tons of our chocolate." They added, "Whilst we appreciate the criminals' exceptional taste, the fact remains that cargo theft is an escalating issue for businesses of all sizes." It is a witty statement, but the reality behind it is anything but funny for the European economy. Why is this a serious problem? Let's break down the economics of a chocolate heist. First, there is the immediate market impact. Nestlé has issued a public warning that the theft might lead to a shortage of these specific KitKats on supermarket shelves. They acknowledge the consumers might struggle to find their favorite chocolates ahead of Easter, when 413,000 units are abruptly wiped off the supply chain. The disruption cascades from wholesalers down to local retailers. But the bigger concern is where this chocolate ends up. 12 tons of chocolate is not for personal consumption. This is a highly organized commercial enterprise. The thieves did not steal it to eat it. They stole it to sell it. Nestlé has warned that the stolen KitKat bars will likely enter what is known as the gray market or unofficial sales channels across Europe. This means the stolen goods could be sold at a discount to unsuspecting independent retailers, market stall owners, or even distributed through online marketplaces. To combat this, Nestlé has activated a trace and track protocol. They have announced that the stolen products are traceable through a unique batch code system. Every single wrapper carries a specific code. The company has urged retailers and consumers to be vigilant. If anyone scans the batch numbers associated with this missing shipment, the scanner will provide clear instructions on how to alert KitKat. We'll then share the evidence with the law enforcement. It is a digital dragnet for a very physical crime. But will it work? To understand that, we need to understand the criminals behind the act. Who steals chocolate? You might be picturing a cartoonish villain, but the reality is that cargo theft in Europe is run by highly sophisticated, transnational organized crime syndicates. Let's look at the data. According to joint reports from the International Union of Marine Insurance and the Transported Asset Protection Association, or TAPA, cargo theft is an escalating crisis in Europe. Every year, billions of euros worth of goods are stolen from trucks, warehouses, and freight trains. And the target isn't always electronics, pharmaceuticals, or luxury goods. Food and beverage shipments are increasingly at the top of the list for organized crime. Why? The answer is simple. Food is the perfect illicit commodity. Think about it. If you steal a truckload of iPhones, Apple can remotely brick the devices. They have serial numbers, GPS trackers, and a highly secure operating system. If you steal a shipment of pharmaceuticals, the regulatory hurdles to resell them are incredibly high, and the penalties for getting caught are severe. But food? Food is anonymous. It is perishable, meaning the evidence is quickly consumed and destroyed. It is universally in demand. And most importantly, the black market for food operates in plain sight. A criminal gang can steal a truck in Italy on Thursday, drive it across the open borders of the Schengen area, and by Saturday morning, those chocolate bars could be sitting on the shelves of hundreds of small, independent convenience stores in Eastern Europe, or the UK, or the Balkans. The shop owners buying the stock might not even know it's stolen. They are simply offered a wholesale discount from an unauthorized distributor. This is not a petty crime. It requires significant logistics. Let's analyze how a heist like this is actually executed. While the specific details of the KitKat heist are still under police investigation, security experts know exactly how these gangs operate. There are 3 methods used to steal a 12-ton shipment in Europe. Method number 1, the tarp and slash. Many European transport trucks use soft-sided trailers covered in heavy tarpaulin. Thieves will follow a truck to an unsecure rest stop. While the driver is sleeping in the cab, the criminals slice open the tarp, assess the cargo, and if it's valuable, they unload it to their own waiting vans. However, taking 12 tons of chocolate this way takes time. Too much time for a quick getaway. Method number 2, the blue light hijacking. Criminals disguise themselves as police officers or transport authority officials. Then they use fake flashlighting lights to pull the truck over a dark stretch of highway. Once the driver stops, he's overpowered, often tied up and left in a remote area, while the gang drives the entire truck away. Nestlé reported that no one was hurt in this incident, which brings us to the most likely scenario. Method number 3, the inside job, or fictitious pickup. This is the fastest growing trend in European cargo theft. Organized crime syndicates set up fake logistics companies. They use fraudulent documents, fake licenses, and cloned license plates to bid on transport contracts through online freight exchange. The manufacturer, believing they have hired a legitimate trucking company, happily loads 12 tons of chocolate into the trailer. The truck drives out of the front gates and is never seen again. Given that the entire vehicle and its contents vanish without a trace and without violence, security analysts suggest that a sophisticated scheme, likely involving fictitious identities or inside information, was at play here. This brings us to the broader implications. Why does this matter to you, the consumer? You might think that a multinational corporation like Nestlé losing a truckload of chocolate is a victimless crime. It is just a write-off for an insurance company, right? Wrong. Cargo theft is a massive tax on the global supply chain, and ultimately, you pay for it. When thefts escalate, insurance premiums for logistics companies skyrocket. To protect their goods, companies are forced to invest heavily in advanced security escort vehicles, GPS trackers embedded in the cargo itself, and secure parking facilities with rigorous background checks. All of these added costs are eventually passed down the line. They are backed into the price of the goods you buy. The rise in cargo theft is one of the silent contributors to the inflation of consumer goods. Furthermore, this incident exposes the dark side of Europe's borderless trade. The European Union prides itself on the Schengen Agreement, the removal of internal borders to allow the free movement of goods, capital, services, and people. It's an economic miracle, but it is also a criminal's paradise. Once a truck is hijacked in Italy, it can drive all the way to Poland, passing through multiple countries without ever being stopped at a customs checkpoint. The criminals have total mobility while local law enforcement agencies are restricted by their national borders. An Italian police force cannot easily pursue a stolen truck into Austria. A Polish police force will not know what to look for unless cross-border intelligence is shared rapidly. Organized crime exploits this jurisdictional friction. They treat the European highway system as their own personal warehouse. And let's be clear, the KitKat heist is not an isolated anomaly. The history of food theft shows us just how lucrative this black market is. In 2013, Germany witnessed what the press dubbed the Nutella heist. Thieves in the town of Bad Hersfeld stole 5 tons of Nutella, worth roughly 16,000 euros, from a parked trailer. In the exact same town, thieves also made off with an entire truckload of Red Bull energy drinks. In 2017, again in Germany, thieves stole a refrigerated trailer containing 20 tons of Kinder Surprise eggs and Nutella, valued at over 50,000 euros. And perhaps the most famous food theft in modern history, the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist of 2011 and 2012. Over the course of months, thieves siphoned off 3,000 tons of maple syrup from a strategic reserve in Quebec. The value, over $18 million. 1/8. What do all these events have in common? They target everyday commodities that are easy to sell and impossible to trace once the packaging is removed. The theft of 12 tons of KitKat Formula 1 bars is just the latest chapter in a long, ongoing war between the logistics industry and organized crime. So, where do things stand today? As of now, the investigation is ongoing. Nestlé is working with local authorities across Italy, Poland, and the transit nations in between. They are monitoring the gray market, hoping that the unique batch codes on the 413,793 stolen chocolate bars will trigger an alert. But the clock is ticking. With the Easter holiday fast approaching, the demand for these chocolates will peak. The criminals know this. They have a narrow window to fence their stolen goods, distribute them to black market buyers, and launder the cash. The story is more than a quirky news headline about missing candy. It is a glaring spotlight on the vulnerabilities of our modern supply chains. We live in a world that demands instant delivery, massive inventory, and seamless borders. But the systems we have built to move these goods are remarkably fragile. A simple truck journey from central Italy to Poland can be entirely compromised by a group of well-organized individuals who see a multi-ton shipment not as a logistics operation, but as an unguarded ATM. The thieves who stole the KitKats may have literally taken a break with 12 tons of chocolate, but for the European authorities, the logistics companies and the corporations trying to secure their supply chains, there is no break in sight.